it kind of redundant for me to slide in here every video? I don't know. I've been doing it for forever. So once again, I wasn't planning on shooting today. It's Sunday morning. I was up at 6, but I just have to tell you guys about something. And you know what? I was thinking about this. Having this YouTube channel and knowing, I've got a handful of you out there, watching and listening. This is like therapy for me. I'm just serious. Like just being able to vent and, tell my stories and all my goofiness and stuff. It's an outlet, right? It's a psychological outlet. So I'm putting my psychology on you guys, which I don't know is a good thing. But okay, real quick, one announcement. We have a new subscriber. One, just one. It only takes one to, make me feel all warm inside. So I don't know who you are, but we always, we do something fun for every new subscriber. And by the way, Izzy, if you're watching, hi. So you guys, I was up at 6, downsizing, right, for hours. And yes, my huge garbage container is full. That's the game every week. Make sure that thing is full, right? Well, I was downstairs. You guys, what do you do when you find like memories and you're downsizing? It gets emotional, right? Well, so I'm definitely bringing these in the trailer with me, right? I won't be able to have any undies because these are so heavy. But you guys, those are photo albums that I don't know. I think one of my siblings gave me. Diane and Dave. Well, let me back up a little bit of context. All right, so I lost Dad to lymphoma long time ago. And that was the first time that I really had, a family death, and I took it hard. To watch him fade away, I just cried and cried. I'm just being honest. Part of my therapy now, right? Um, really sad. Then I think mom was around for another 10 years after that, but we lost her to breast cancer. Really sad. Really sad. Then both my brother and sister, Diane and Dave, lost both of them to pancreatic cancer. Most of you know that. So when I was diagnosed, it's like, okay, well, that makes perfect sense, right? So anyway, I'm downstairs digging through stuff, loading stuff into bins and tossing it, whatever. So I found these photo albums. And I saw stuff I've never seen before, or when maybe Dave or Diane gave me those, I didn't go through them. Mom and Dad did all kinds of trips and stuff, Alaskan cruises, and they were the definition of snowbird. Up here in Minnesota, lutefisk, and, uh, I almost said Luftwaffe. That's something different. No, Krummkake. But they had an apartment up here, not far from where I am now. And they had an apartment down in Mesa, Arizona. So they would go back and forth, bounce, they would do Arizona in the summer and come back here for all the ice and snow that they really missed. Right? Or did I get that mixed up? But I'm going through these photo albums. I had no idea. They went and saw the Roman arena that was built in 1 BC. So if my math is right, it's 2024 years old, right? Or yeah, so okay, so Rome, that's in Italy, right? I was never good at geology. So did you catch that? And the Munich Glockenspiel, Herr Glockenspiel. I don't know what that is. Um, and they saw this in Spain. That's really cool. I had no idea. They were in Switzerland. Just all these, and it's like Austria. I didn't know they went to Austria. Yeah, I think I know where that is. I think I know where Austria is. I was born there. Right? I think Arnold was born in Austria. They did a Venetian canoe ride. No, it's a gondola. They were in Venice? Really? They never told me about it. Mom and Dad, you should have told me you were in Venice. The Arc de Triomphe? I think that's in Germany too, right? Avec qui rentrez-vous à la voiture? With whom did you return in the car? That's the only sentence I remember from a year of French. Works good on first dates, though. Avec qui rentrez-vous à la voiture? And so I'll tell my date. It just means pass the ketchup. So this is what broke my heart, you guys. And I did get emotional when I saw these photos. Right? Cacti. So they're standing in front of a cigarro. They're called cigarros because when the Norwegians came over here and discovered the United States, they saw these things and they looked like cigars. So they named them cigarros. I don't know if you knew that, but no, saguaros. So this is why I got emotional. This is where I'm going in a couple of years, right? If I ever get my solar panels mounted, right? So it's like, Mom and Dad, I'm going where you were, kind of thing. So, and then I found a couple fun things just to kind of lighten the mood a little bit. Think about this. Back in the day, Mom and Dad had a 1969 Chevy Kingswood Estate station wagon. I've got all kinds of stories about that. So we had this old Mesa pop-up camper. Dad had his aluminum boat on the top, and there's my crappy little Chevy Chevette. Remember the Chevy Chevette? I'm serious, that was one of the best cars ever. Yeah, it rusted all to pieces. I mean, the doors fell off, and but when it's really cool because when you're done with your can of pop, you just lift the plywood on the bottom on the floor and just throw your can down there, and it ends up on the highway behind you. I had people sign a waiver that they had a tetanus shot before I would give them a ride. But think about that. Mom and Dad and 3 of us kids in this contraption. It had a 396 big block in it, so it was it had a big engine in it, but through the Tetons and Mount Rushmore and Yellowstone and Glacier National Park, we went from St. Paul, Minnesota, all the way over to California to visit my aunt and uncle and my cousins and their family. I went water skiing behind my uncle's boat in Utah, Lake Powell, with these huge sheer cliffs on either side, Red Rock, Lake Powell. I remember water skiing and it was beautiful blue water, just, yeah. So, but imagine mom and dad and 3 kids going cross country. And years ago, I was thinking, man, that took, sorry for the language, that took balls to do that. What could go wrong? You got your whole family with you. What if something happened? Well, I'm going to be doing basically the same thing, right? Except it's just me. Maybe a dog. So, but I mean, mom and dad had that huge responsibility if something happened and the 3 of us kids were with. You know what I mean? It's like, wow. But yeah, I don't remember a lot about it because I was little. I was the little kid. I was the youngest. And but thinking about you guys, thinking about all this stuff, have you guys run across like old photo albums and you're going through it and it's like, oh wow, does it get emotional for you guys? And we can't take, well, for me, I can't take all these photos with, so I'm gonna end up scanning them and digitizing them, and so they don't weigh anything. But so yeah, it was kind of emotional. And I didn't know that mom and dad did all that stuff, that huge Europe trip, or if they told me I forgot about it or whatever. But it's like, good for you, mom and dad, right? And I didn't get any kind of an inheritance or anything. I didn't get a dime, which was fine. I was totally okay with that because I was doing okay. They did help me pay off a truck when I was in college, to help me out. But where was I going with that? But yeah, I was just so happy to see all the stuff my mom and dad did. I haven't done anything yet. I mean, my big trip was going to Duluth, camping in Duluth. I haven't gone anywhere, so it's it's gonna be my turn, right? So, but then I found this is something I never told you guys, and you guys know I play horns, right? I was, lead trumpet all the way through high school and stuff. So when I got into college, I got some buddies together and I said, you guys, what would be really fun is if we started our own band. And so we did. We had someone sew these custom jackets for us, and so we started the Seventh Avenue Dixieland Band. And I've got better photos, but we ended up playing at Farrell's Ice Cream Parlor. I don't know if Farrell's was just local here in Minnesota or if it was a chain. But anyway, Farrell's was really cool. They had this blind musician come in and he would play the organ. This was in Roseville. He would play this organ and it was incredible. There were instruments scattered all over the restaurant. Snare drum is over there, bass drum is over there, there's organ pipes there and all kinds of crazy, and this blind, I'm not kidding. This blind musician would come in and play this organ. And it was amazing. So yeah, my band played at this ice cream, and we did weddings and we did, we played at a church one time, and it was just really, really fun. If you're not familiar with Dixieland, just Google, Dixieland music or something. That's really fun. It's really upbeat. But anywho, wow. But yeah, you guys, downsizing, it can get emotional, and I kind of talked about it a little bit before. But just when I ran across these pictures of all these adventures that my parents did that I didn't know about or forgot about or whatever, um, it just really made me happy that they did all this stuff instead of not spending the money and passing on a couple grand to me or whatever. Does that make sense? So I'm looking for. Oh, here. I showed you this before, but then I found. I was talking to somebody about being a redhead. I don't know if that was somebody that left a comment here or if I was on somebody else's channel going back and forth, but gingers. And I said, well, I don't know if you remember, but I showed you a photo when I was a kid on my mini bike and I had like flaming red hair. I got teased. I didn't care. Carrot top and, I still get teased, but not because of my hair. So, oh, one more thing and then I'll let you go. We had no idea how brilliant my dad was until after he passed. This is something else I found. I found a folder. My dad was well, back then they called it a draftsman. Big table with, the square and drawing lines and all that stuff. But technically, now we would call him a mechanical engineer. We didn't know this until later, or I didn't find out. My dad had 13 patents. But because he worked for Whirlpool, right? Back in the day. So Whirlpool owned the rights to those patents. If he would have been a subcontractor or something, we would have something way better than that little pop-up Mesa camper. But you guys, I found a folder full of his blueprints. You guys, he was a frickin' genius. He invented all kinds of stuff. Vacuum cleaners. This is an upright vacuum. A list of all the parts and the assembly numbers. Right? Dad was the reason I was so torn up when he passed is my dad was man's man. Hunting, fishing, venison, big, musky fillets in the freezer, and when he was growing up, he worked on a farm. He grew up without a dad. He lost his dad when he was 13. But I found a picture. I can't find it now, but I found a picture of dad in a boat holding up a stringer full of fish. And his biceps, and he was built and he was ripped. The dude had abs, and this photo was back in the 50s. I'm not kidding. Dad had a full set of abs. He was like, yeah, look at the fish I caught, yeah, pretty good, But because he was throwing 80-pound hay bales all day, well, of course you're going to get ripped, right? But so, yeah, outdoorsman, man's man, fixed everything. So, yeah, I just had to tell that story, you guys. And thank you for being my therapist. Send me a bill. No, don't. I can't afford it because I've spent too much on this crap. But does that make sense? Downsizing is hard sometimes, but I went through all these things. I pulled out a few photos just to show you, and so I'll end up, tossing those because and have you guys thought about starting a YouTube channel? Because the way I look at this, I'm telling my stories and showing photos and stuff. Well, I can get rid of those now because it's on here. And my kids, this will be my legacy or something, so my kids can go back and listen to all these goofy stories, right? If YouTube is around, you know what I'm saying? If it's not replaced by AI or something, which it actually is. There's tons of AI videos out there now that are just auto-generated. So yeah, you guys, thank you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. And I got to get back to work. All right. So even though the garbage is full, I can still, but anyway, I hope you're having a great day, a great Sunday, and I'll talk to you later. And thank you. All right. Bye.